Hi, this is Matt with the Intergalactic Herald. Welcome to my Star Atlas Week in Review podcast. This is podcast number 62. All articles and videos mentioned here can be found on my website at intergalacticherald.com. Look for News Recap 111. Cool. Anyways, so quick summary of things I'll be talking about. Metaverse Explorer posted a video and had some thoughts on the Starbase. Metaverse Nomads did their weekly live stream and talked a little more about the Tokes. AFIA released their newsletter and some interesting things in there I found. There was an Atlas Brew, and that's pretty much it. It was actually kind of a slow week, at least on the public side of Star Atlas. But before we get into there, just wanted to mention again a couple things. I'm always looking for guests to be on this podcast, so it could be Star Atlas community member, another content creator, Star Atlas builder, obviously Star Atlas team members. Love to chat with anybody. Please go to intergalacticherald.com, look for my contact page, and just go ahead and send me a note there. Also, I am working on 2 Star Atlas projects as part of the build program using Star Atlas's IP. First is a Star Atlas merch store at intergalacticgear.com. Slowly made some progress, then got delayed. Again, this is not my highest priority, unfortunately, with family and business and things like that. But anyways, moving forward, hopefully to get some work done this weekend. But if you go to intergalacticgear.com, I do have a merch survey up there. I'd love to have anybody who would like to give me their thoughts on what kind of merchandise they'd be looking for. And also, I am trying to create what used to be called a non-guild guild, but now just call it a DAC, a Distributed Autonomous Corporation, using one of Star Atlas's terms. So it's basically just a community of Star Atlas gamers, not necessarily guild focused. I don't think I'll be excluding anybody who happens to be a guild, but it's more of a different type of way to interact with other community members in Star Atlas. So it'll be on a different platform than Discord, more about threaded discussions, email notifications, hopefully less kind of chat and, definitely less trolling and things like that. It will be a paid community, partly to offset the cost of the platform, but also I think that shows a level of commitment if you're willing to pay for a community of like-minded people to converse. So let's move on into the main content section. So first, and again, all the links and videos again are in intergalacticherald.com, News Recap 111. So Metaverse Explorer did a typical kind of, I think he's getting now into kind of a weekly cadence for his updates. So went through lots of different Star Atlas updates that occurred. So again, check that out. One thing that was kind of nice, he was mentioning that he had done a little, getting more involved with the Sage Starbase. Again, as of followers of this podcast know, I'm trying to get back into it, but one, haven't had time, and 2, so many bugs and Solana problems and things like that. But he noted that he was helping with some of the upkeep of one of the star bases and did a quick analysis of the amount of Atlas he got back after turning in his loyalty points, and he would have actually made a better return if he had just sold it on the marketplace. So again, I'm not saying that's the entire game, just his one comment on it, but again, it does kind of fit into something I'm wondering more and more about. But again, until I actually get in there and actually able to play, which has been biggest problem, both time and again the Solana problems, I don't want to say, oh, that's the definitive answer or anything on Starbase. But again, kind of made me start wondering a little more. Metaverse Nomads had their weekly live stream on YouTube. They did kind of continue some of the dialogue about the Tokes acquisition and long-term about the DAO part of Star Atlas. So again, if you're interested in hearing more about that, definitely some great opinions were shared. So definitely encourage if you want to hear more about that. But one thing I actually did find quite interesting was brought up is about how the DAO is ultimately designed to be, where the players control things. But in the short term, so that's the decision long term is for that. But it does occur after development. And again, that was kind of stated again in the Atlas Brew that came up later in the week, that they went over the roadmap and the long-term plan for the kind of truly turning over the development is quite late, if not the end of the seasons that have been mentioned. So I'm not sure if, again, because I haven't really been following all the DAO stuff from the beginning, I should say, because there's nothing going on with it right now. The proposal process was deprioritized with reduction of staff and things like that. Anyways, that again, the development of the DAO has been pushed back because of those setbacks. But what was brought up, and I think this is a very good point, that it could at least provide guidance to the Star Atlas team, maybe in something I'm just throwing my 2 cents in, like it's, non-binding votes, that again, at least would be able to put out there. So maybe it doesn't have the true governance factor. But anyways, I still think it was an interesting idea. And it was, again, kind of an interesting outcome of this whole acquisition process that occurred. So AFIA put out their AFIA put out their newsletter written by Funcracker, which again is a great weekly recap of things that were going on. So if you've seen a trend here, obviously Metaverse Explorer, I guess not this last week, or maybe you did, Beyond the Horizon, AFIA, I guess even myself, even though I'm doing kind of a meta thing, they do the reviews and then I review their reviews of the past week. But anyways, one thing that came out in the AFIA newsletter that was my hunch, but it was nice to actually see confirmed, because Funcracker does always get excellent sourcing and confirmation of things before he publishes. So I'm really thankful that he's doing that work to, when he does say something, it has been confirmed that the Surge gameplay style that we had is going away. I think it was supposed to end kind of in April because it runs on Metagravity, and so that's why they can't keep it always up. So that was good to hear officially, or officially through public sources. But me editorializing now, I have to admit, I find this completely a missed opportunity. It was fun. It was a great gameplay style, especially when the groups were kept smaller. I understand that, again, they were trying to test 2,000, then they said 1,000. We reached that, and of course it had a lot of leggy issues, but still, considering where it came from the first couple tests, that's great. It was to me at least, it was the first true multiplayer experience in Star Atlas. Nothing wrong with Sage as a product, but again, you were playing by yourself, and even now in Starbase you're indirectly competing against your faction, but you were definitely in the traditional multiplayer sense of shooters and things like that. And I think it could have grown at a regular place where the Star Atlas community could come together and game and things like that. So I'm actually kind of slightly disappointed, but definitely consider it a missed opportunity that's going away. Now, I know the thing, and again, the map we were playing on was the race course, and you were running around those too. So I know racing is actually probably was the focus, and maybe it was easier to have a shooter type of test, because again, they'd always said these were tests of the technology, and so maybe racing will come, or maybe racing is the next thing, and it's been their focus. So I'm not faulting them for that, but sure seemed kind of like a lot of effort went into something, i.e. a shooter, that now is being abandoned so we can go back to racing. Well, we already kind of had some racing in there. So again, I'm not sure exactly why that was made decision, but I don't know why they couldn't both coexist, but so be it. But again, just find that a missed opportunity, because I think a lot of, it's fun. And I would enjoy jumping in even if they're smaller groups and things like that. So, and then last one, because like I said, it was kind of a very light week as far as different news sources. The Sprue occurred. Again, that's always on the Wednesday of the week. They did a continuation of the new roadmap review, and were able to complete all the seasons. So I think this was like the second, probably maybe even third review of that. So they went through all those other seasons. One thing I took away that was kind of, again, interesting was the emphasis in the future when claim stakes. And again, I don't remember what season it was. I was multitasking because I already skimmed it. So it's a fine topic I'm not trying to say don't talk about it, but again, it wasn't totally engaging content to me, because I could go read it if I wanted to. But one thing that was about the claim stakes was brought up again that I hadn't heard of before, and that's what I think a lot of these, sometimes you just get these small little tidbits that are really interesting. And we have claim stakes now, and they don't do anything. So that's the other reason I kind of perked up when I heard that, was that it really changes the focus from the ships to the crew. And I was like, huh? I mean, Star Atlas is about ships, but, and again, this wasn't really spoken because they were going over so many of them, but what I really kind of became much more clear, and again, we've been talking about crew packs for a while now, that you, the player, the gamer, are you. So when you enter Star Atlas, and again, I'm just guessing here, in different aspects, you may or may not enter as a ship. And that's the other thing that was interesting. It wasn't brought up, but I'm kind of, again, putting things together, that we've been told that the ships we currently own, the people have ships now, they're going to be broken into smaller parts. They're going to be components, crew, and a hull. And going forward, you will only be able to buy a ship hull, and then you got to buy the components for it. And of course, we know crew is going to start becoming a separate entity. So what was interesting, and it was alluded to, was that the entry point for people going forward will be as a single person. You won't enter as a ship, but your goal might be to level up your person till you have enough experience to get a ship or be on a ship or travel. Again, this whole idea that, there'll be people doing transport and things like that. So anyways, it was just kind of an interesting thing that, again, it was just a small point. Again, as they always say, the roadmap subject change, all this gameplay is just there. But just realizing that we've been so far, at least in my opinion, totally focused on ships. And in the future, it may not be, ships may be something that you have to work up to even have your own ship, or we just take for granted we have it now. So anyways, it was a small thing, but the way this related back to claim stakes is that you might actually go work a claim stake. And I was like, work a claim stake? And I was kind of, again, thinking about claim stakes as being able to own territory, property. I'm not sure. Again, I'm not even, because they're not fully developed yet. They're just these things that are in a web page. But again, that would make some sense that if you, as an owner of a claim stake, need somebody to run the power plants and the mining drills and the space stations and whatever other cultivation perhaps, well, you're not going to have ships running those. You're going to have people. And again, it just kind of, started me realizing the depth and the large aspects that Star Atlas is, which again was really kind of cool. So even though I was, again, not paying attention, I've seen the roadmap before, whatever, just that little tidbit of maybe how all these pieces fit together was pretty cool. However, and I guess anybody who's listened to podcasts knows by now I'm a little more pragmatic, so there's a other side to this, and the other side is mainly about the roadmap. Again, it's great. Beth did a 3-minute summary video, and again, that would have probably been enough for me. Again, it just because, again, they were just going over the roadmap. But the roadmap, I think, is still a great resource to have. It's nice that the time and effort was taken to show the big picture, because I really think it helps people, again, realize that we're, really, really at the beginning. I mean, we're not even close to anything. And there's so much more that the team wants to do, and that goes back to the entire vision of Star Atlas. So again, seeing that is awesome. Shows they have a plan, shows all this. But there is so much in that roadmap, and given kind of the cadence that we've seen so far, it feels very both inspirational, but also potentially totally unobtainable. Now, I do know it's been mentioned a few times that the beginning is the hardest phase. Once you get one thing, adding on to that thing becomes easier over time. I totally get that. But it is hard because the future is just that. And again, if you look at the number of seasons, you interpolate if they're 1 year, 2 years, more than multiple years per season. I mean, we're getting so far out there. Well, bluntly, I'll be really old. So, it's hard when we're so used to games coming out and you play them for a few months and then you go on to the next thing. So again, I'm not faulting Star Atlas. This is an incredible vision, of really creating something long term, which is a great goal. It's just, again, it's hard to get, I guess, too excited about something when, again, we've been excited many times before and many things. And I'll just kind of wrap this up again. Surge was exciting. Oh, but that's not going to be a thing. And the DAO's exciting, but yeah, that's not a thing. And again, maybe I'll be sitting here in a year doing podcasts, I don't know, 160 or whatever. I can't do the math. And go, wow, look at what the last year was. But again, it's 1st of May. 4 months into this year. Oh yeah, there we go. We're 4 months into this year, so we're a third of the way done. And the only thing we're engaged with right now is Starbased, and can't, up until a couple weeks ago, I still haven't been able to get into it, mainly for my lack of time, but more that the thing just didn't work. I couldn't do it. And again, we understand Solana and all that kind of stuff, but still, so again, not to leave it on a complete bummer, but that's just how I am this week. There really wasn't anything. So, hopefully I'll have a little time this week and maybe try out a little more on Starbased. I am really actually, I guess wrap it up, realizing that automation, and I've talked about before, is so far at least the future. So I'm really thinking, in addition to just doing the basic stuff, so I understand what Starbase and the commands and how the interface is different, that maybe the best use of my time going forward might be to figure out automation, because it sure sounds like, and I would be shocked if a lot of the people aren't just doing automation, because again, the interface just wasn't working for me. So I don't know how they would be able to do it unless they were doing automation. That, maybe trying to figure that out might be the next best step. So anyways, to leave it on kind of a whatever note, but that was the week in review. So, what else am I supposed to say? Anyways, so to finish up again, if you're interested in being a guest on the podcast, please go to intergalacticherald.com, look for my contact sheet, or contact page, go ahead and fill it out, and we could see if we could schedule a time. Getting closer to being official launch of my merch store at intergalacticgear.com, so please check that out. There's a merch survey there now. I guess if you really want to buy a mug, please do, but I'm still figuring out sales tax, and I guess it's just sales tax. It's shipped. It came to my house. I got it. I'm going to take a picture of it hopefully today. And then once I kind of get moving forward, I do want to build a community, because I want to hang out with other Star Atlas gamers and maybe have less chaotic experience and follow what's going on in a threaded discussion paid community. So please go to intergalacticcoalition.com and fill out my interest survey, leave your contact information, so that as I get further on, I can reach back out to it. But anyways, that's it. Thanks for listening. Have a great week ahead. This is Matt with the Intergalactic Herald.